Hi. How's everyone doing? Good. This is the fun concert of the year. I mean, we have a lot of fun concerts. This one's really fun because we get to relax and play the only true American begun art form, jazz, for you. And what's fun is for you to be able to see the progression of our infant jazzers all the way through some of the older guys that you'll see later. What's called older. This is Jazz 1, and they meet every day, 7th hour, which is a luxury that a lot of schools don't have. And we've been able to maintain that, and that's a great thing. And you'll understand if you've never heard them why having a rehearsal every day really matters. We can do a lot of different things. We can explore more stuff. And then we're just consistent and weird when you do things on a consistent basis, and whatever, excellence happens. So this group is gonna play a tune by the Gordon Goodwin's Big Fat Band, which Andy is actually a member of. I don't know how to say the Spanish words, so it's translated the Little Clam, so we'll just call it the Little Clam. And this features Oliver on trombone and Bo on tenor. Anybody else? And everybody, because why not? All right. The other great thing about Grand Rapids and this jazz festival and you as a community, with your support, we've been able to do this and bring in amazing people. We get help from some other organizations. Poplar's Music is here that does a ton of stuff for us. And I saw a bunch of them right over here. So thanks Poplar's Music for having us and supporting. They've been a partner of our program for a long time and so generous and supportive of what we do and always willing to help us out. And then we love to bring in Yamaha clinicians because they're great humans, not that other people aren't, but the Yamaha ones seem to be super, super great. And our rep from Yamaha, Toby, is here, and so he is always supporting us. So, always appreciate everything that Yamaha does. And so now we're going to bring out the main attraction. This has been a really, really fun 2 days. Get to know Andy, and his playing record obviously is second to none, but watching him with kids and how he interacts with humans makes it over the top. So we're going to bring Andy back out and we're going to play a tune called Look to the Sky. And it's going to feature Andy and Bo. I took his mic away, but Bo's going to go first.
Cool. That was "Look to the Sky," Antonio Carlos Jobim treasure. Very beautiful tune, and we're going to continue on with a tune called "A Beautiful Friendship." And Mr. Gunderson is going to play for you. This is going to be awesome.
How about that guy, huh? I'll try this one. Good. All right, I have a few little announcement things that we do every year. We have some things. Thursday, we have a big burger bash and silent auction, and that helps support all these programs. So 5 to 8, come to the Eagles, spend lots of money, eat a good burger, get some really good silent auction items, and meat raffle. Who doesn't like a meat raffle, right? Next Monday, we have our regular band concert band, ninth grade band, and symphonic band. Check that out. Thank you on your way in if you were able to make a donation towards tonight's concert. And what we do, if you missed it, Lenny Brown said he'll be around if you want to give him money. He always takes money. Or if you want to give more after you heard what you heard, we'll take that. A couple things of note. I got to make a couple announcements. Number one, I think Sager and I talked. It might have been the late 1990s is the last time that we've had a student selected to the Minnesota All-State Jazz Ensemble, and we just found out last week that Oliver Grossland is our next All-State Jazz Band. That's a huge deal. And then every year we give the Louis Armstrong Award to our outstanding senior jazz player as voted by the students and staff. And this year's senior Louis Armstrong Award winner is on the tenor sax, Mr. Bo Crawl. All right. Sure.
The previous tune, A Beautiful Friendship, I just ran across that because an idol of mine, and an idol of Oliver's too, is Carl Fontana. He always played that tune, so it's just a beautiful, nice, relaxed jazz standard that isn't played too often by a lot of people. So I just latched onto that and called Tom Kupis one day and said, hey, he actually emailed me, says, what standards do you like to play? And I said, well, A Beautiful Friendship and this and that tune, and then There'll Never Be Another You. And sure enough, a couple days later in my email box was about 4 charts, big band charts, that trombone features that he wrote just for me, which is unbelievable. The guy so generous, as Tom Kupis is. It's wonderful. And so this next tune is one of those tunes as well. It's entitled There Will Never Be Another You.
All right, it's time for the